the first exercise I'm going to have Pat do is what we call cervical retraction. So sitting up tall, he's going to focus on pulling his head straight backwards, bringing his chin into his throat. Notice how he's gazing straight forward. He's not looking up to the ceiling. That's kind of the lower intensity version. Pat, if you want to push it a little harder, you can actually use your hand and give yourself a little bit of extra pressure when you push backwards. That'll give yourself a little bit more of a stretch. Next exercise I'm going to have him focus on, we're going to stick with the neck. We're going to do what we call controlled joint rotations. So Pat, go ahead and look down for me, bringing your chin close to your chest. Now tilt your left ear over to your left shoulder. And then from there, gradually look up and backwards. From there, you're going to end up taking right ear to right shoulder, circling all the way around, and then end up with your chin near your chest. Now go ahead and reverse that, right ear to right shoulder, up and backwards, and then you're going to circle around. Again, this can be done very gently where you're doing a small circle, or it's something that you can push more vigorously to try to make more gains. Next, I'm going to have you do a similar controlled rotation, but this time I want you looking down. Now you're going to turn or rotate to the left, so you're going to kind of drag your chin across your chest over to your shoulder. Now look up and backwards. Now take the chin over to that right shoulder and drag your chin across the upper part of your chest back to the middle, and reverse, go in the opposite direction. So right now I'm only having Pat do 1 or 2 repetitions of these exercises. This is certainly something that you could do 2 or 3 of, or even 15 or 20 of them, depending on the amount of time that you have and how much progress you're trying to make. So those exercises were all for the cervical spine or the neck. Now, Pat, I'm going to have you slide your chair away from your desk, and we're going to focus on your upper back. So from there, you're going to reach your hands out to your desk, sliding your hands forward on your desk a ways, and I'm going to have him really focus on pushing his chest out. You can see how his upper back really flattens out in that position. That's the opposite of the rounded position that many of us get into when we're sitting at our desks, at our tabletops, or frankly, at any other position during our day. So he's really working on going the opposite direction of what he tends to do while sitting. Okay, Pat, go ahead and sit all the way up from there. Next, I'm going to have him do a controlled joint rotation, but of his upper back or thoracic spine. So Pat, you can cross your arms on your chest. Just like you did with your neck, I'm going to have you round forward, bringing your elbows towards your thighs. Now I want you to tilt, dropping that left shoulder towards the floor, and then you're going to rotate your body to the left, and now you're going to rotate up and backwards. Now drop down and to the right, and then come around forward, elbows to thighs, and then reverse that. Again, I'll mention it again. He could do a really conservative version of this just to work on loosening up and feeling a little bit better, or he could push this much more vigorously if he was trying to really loosen up and gain motion in a certain area. So those are the 2 exercises that we like for the thoracic spine. Next, I'm going to have Pat focus on his lower back. I'm going to have him do an exercise that we call pelvic tilts. So sitting in the chair, you don't have to stand up for this one. I'm going to have him focus on rolling his pelvis forward and backwards. So all of these exercises, he's staying standing right at his desk. He can reach for his phone and unmute it and answer that question that might get asked of him at any time. He's not getting short of breath, so it's not going to be awkward or uncomfortable if he has to talk for a minute. Okay, Pat, now I'm going to have you stand all the way up. Let's do one last exercise for the lower back area. And we're going to do standing lumbar or lower back extensions. So with this, Pat's going to allow his hips to push forward as he leans backwards, letting his head and chest face the ceiling. Go ahead and come out of that. Why don't you do one more repetition like that, Pat? And come out of it. Again, this is a mobility sequence that you can do at your desk. We focused on the spine for this segment, both neck, upper back, and lower back. We're going to include other exercises for different body regions next.